Good morning and happy 2026, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the new year of the UltraCast. I am always your host, Hunter, aka the Ultra Mega TTRPGer, and I am sick as a dog today. But I am still here. We're about to get into some really spicy stuff today. There's a lot to talk about that happened last month before we got up to this into the year. And as always, I got my buddies Dusquill and Marhawkman with me.
How's it going, everybody?
Morning.
All right. So as of this moment, we are still waiting. We were going to try to watch. President Trump is supposed to be giving a press conference live, probably here shortly, in regards to the new updates with Venezuela. But of course, my computer, being that I'm 33 years old, a single dad, and I live in a van down by the river, means of course that my internet decided to not work with me properly.
Of course.
And so I got it open on here. I got the captions going, so that way I can kind of just look back and forth, and I'll reference it every now and then. So that way I can tell you all about what President Trump is going to be saying. And it looks like they're just doing.
And if I recall correctly, this is about us apparently capturing President Maduro and his wife.
Yes. It says President Trump holds news conference on Venezuela strikes in Maduro, and then it says in quotes, capture.
Does anyone here remember the last time the White House had any foreign leader captured before, whether it's wartime or not wartime?
I can't say at the top of my head I do.
Would you say? Okay, was it the leader of It wasn't Iran, was it?
I honestly don't remember at this point.
Well, one thing I heard is that Iran actually did declare war on the U.S., and then their citizenry went into open revolt.
It's like I'm just trying to remember. There was like a Middle Eastern dictator that I think we had captured, then gave over to the people, and then they hung him. I just can't remember the name off the top of my head.
I think that was was that the one was that Muammar Gaddafi?
Was it Gaddafi?
I think it was Gaddafi because they literally beat his ass all the way to hang him.
What was he the leader of again?
I don't remember. I think it was an African tribe or something.
Hmm.
I remember it was like somewhere in the Middle East during the war on terror.
Well, it could be one of those African countries. It's close to the Middle East.
More Mediterranean.
Or Horn of Africa.
All right.
I know that Somalia currently has a stupid struggle because the Somalians are having disagreements about who should be in charge of their region and whether or not they should even be a single country.
They're trying to have a national schism.
Yeah, because the guys who live in Mogadishu are the ones who fund pirates and all that crap. Mm-hmm. Well, some of the Somalis don't want to be associated with piracy and don't want to be seen as persona grata by their name.
Right. And I apologize to listeners that if y'all hear any noises in the background on my end. I'm not really alone in the house at the moment. I moved back home to help take care of help my parents take care of my grandfather. So you probably just hear him walking about with his walker.
I got ABC News pulled up right now, and of course they're just trying to pull their crap. They're trying to say is this legal under international law and some crap. And of course, they're being well, the guy's well, no, we have authorization to use military force when there's a threat to our country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that
I
stupid thing where the government of Venezuela is like, no, we are not, in fact, actively supporting these people who are invading our country. No, there is definitely no proof that we are in fact, actually supporting them. And no one believes them.
I wonder if I could just unplug my microphone from my computer. I just turn it up really loud if you guys can hear it,
Maybe.
because I'm like literally like right in front of my computer. So let me pull up my microphone. I'll turn this up. If I can. Not my computer's being.
You're exactly right about that. In fact, our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas is now reporting that all the
I can kind of vaguely hear it.
military helping the private sector execute federal law.
Can't really make too much out.
The problem is I can hear the voices from our stream too. So I'm just gonna leave that off. Sorry, I thought we were gonna try to be able to make it work because I want everyone to actually be able to hear what President Trump has to say. But
it would have been so cool if we could have had the first ever,
like live press stream on our show.
Live press stream on our podcast. Be the first ever one. That would have been pretty cool.
If I could afford it, I would get Starlink, but I can't. But it's so expensive.
Or at least just like a media laptop you can link into the chat just to show videos.
Yeah, something like that. I wish I could make the oh, here we go, capture styling. I can make it bigger, large. Let's see if I can. There we go. That's what I want. Man, even the large isn't really that large. So, did you guys have a good Christmas and all that jazz?
My Christmas, nothing much really happened. I was like on a 22-hour bus ride and just got there like at 1 or 2 in the morning on Christmas Day. But my dad works on holiday, so my family already celebrated Christmas like a day early. So I was mostly just sleeping off the bus ride.
I know what that feels like. Hasn't been something I did recently, but it did happen to me one year. Because like I used to live in Colorado and then took a bus ride to Arkansas to hang out with the family for Christmas, which yeah, that was tiring.
All right, so we're still waiting. We're still waiting for Trump to kind of come on. He hasn't popped up yet, but they got the stand on screen.
New Year's was pretty good though. Ate some white beans and rice, some crab stew, some fried shrimp. Had a lot of champagne, popped off a lot of fireworks. Got my birthday celebrated. That was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, we had a whole bunch of people doing fireworks around here. Nothing of any real nothing spectacular, but just enough to that you hear the noise over and over again.
Considering it was my first New Year's and birthday out of the Army, my family pretty much made me be the fireworks artillery guy.
This is happening, I guess, in Mar-a-Lago is where he's doing this press conference from. Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, I guess why not?
Yeah, while we're still waiting, this kind of some tabletop news that's been coming up. There was this whole scare that happened with WotC and D&D Beyond wanting people's they just want your date of birth in the country that you live in, so that way you can kind of be certified to be able to use your thing. But some of the people, when they were talking about it, they made it seem like, oh, they want like a photo ID.
Well,
and that wasn't the case at all.
That's one of those things that I personally don't really understand. Is like, I don't know what the so I think what happened was that some people got fragmentary information and attempted to fill in the blanks with information that wasn't right.
Now,
The
It's
email
like
wasn't very clear on it either.
I'm
some
just
of these
wondering.
online verification things have in fact done face scan stuff trying to verify your identity and your age. It's possible that someone mistakenly thought that's what a D&D Beyond was going to be doing when they said that they wanted to add age verification, except that their age verification is literally just asking you to type in your age.
Why would they even like? The only thing I can think of they would want that is for like demographic research, but it's like
Yes,
well, why else would they need that? Because D&D, like sure, maybe back in the day they would have been like some adult advisory warnings, but D&D nowadays is very market friendly. Like it's very all age type stuff.
it's the Roblox idea. It's that, people who use service may or may not use the service as you described, and may or may not use it for a purpose for which it's not designed at all. And
It's a tabletop game. As soon as you buy, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. That's just been the thing since tabletop was first made.
right. But D&D Beyond is a online service that is meant for assisting people with coordinating games or some. I haven't actually used it in years, but I do have 2 character sheets that I created on D&D Beyond and still have on their site. And I'm genuinely not sure exactly how far their services go because, quite frankly, I never used it for anything other than making online character sheets, and even then, I didn't need it. So
I think I
whatever.
remember watching an episode of Legends of Evantris. I think it's their Witchlight campaign where Derek was trying out D&D Beyond for the first time because I think they were being sponsored to do it, and it was just a hilarity of them just being pissed off about it because it just was weird to work with.
Yeah. When I was doing kind of going over the characters for my Curse of Strahd game that I run for Rogers Group, they had never used like D&D Beyond before, and I was telling them, hey, just do it through D&D Beyond so that way I can have access to your characters if I need to help make changes or whatever. And they were just like so thrown off because I guess they hardly ever use. People don't really use it that often. And I thought everyone used it that played D&D.
I mean, like when you can easily just find edible PDF of literally any character sheet for any game ever, there's really no point to it.
Oh,
Sorry, I had a cough.
yeah, I did too.
That's actually one of those things that's an interesting thing because of the fact that in a lot of cases, it's just a matter of, like make pre-gens run with it. But then you have the people who want to be extra fancy and make like whatever sort of nonsense customized characters and this is a thing that's a big problem with D&D Beyond is that if you try to use non-standard options, it doesn't work.
Oh,
Because
it doesn't have like any supplement or homebrew support.
okay, it technically does. It's just that going to the time and effort of actually
Like porting it.
Yeah, it's like actually like properly documenting what your homebrew that you're using for this game is a lot less easy than simply playing with the default options.
Mm.
I'm trying to see if I can find access to the news conference from somewhere else because ABC is crapping out on me.
Did you see the message from Spartan 287?
I have not yet. Well, he
He
always
said-
asks that same thing all the time. It's
Mhm.
always, what's up? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Right
so
now, we're just talking general tabletop while Hunter is constantly eyeing up this news broadcast about Venezuela.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's should be a news thing on here that I can access. There it is, news on YouTube. I'm sure they have a live stream on somewhere happening.
Mm-hmm. So how is y'all's tabletop gaming been going? I haven't been able to do jack shit the past like
Ye-
month because of my move.
Well, last week after we finished the show, I was in that game with the Red Room guys doing their whatever Halloween or sorry, not Halloween, but uh Christmas themed Mutant Future game.
Oh, cool.
Mm.
Um, oh, excuse me. I'm going to be another server I'm in. They're going to start doing it's a Star Wars 5e game where we're going to be starting on at the Sith Academy in Korriban.
Ooh, a Sith game. That actually sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it just took me a minute because like he was trying. It's like you have to because he's trying to do it to where you pitch him the character idea first before you make the character. So that way it's like if he's wants it or not. And so I'm just waiting to still hear back from him about it. So and
think later today because I'm on my dad's computer while I'm waiting for my computer to come in from the movers. Maybe Monday, we'll see. I think later today, my indie comic book group, since we're still testing out systems to try and make our own tabletop game in our shared comic universe, I don't know if they played without me, but today I should be able to get back into the Star Wars Fate and Destiny game.
yeah,
We've been running like a pre-gen adventure, and we did like the initial one. Now we're playing like the sequel adventure, and I think we'll be continuing that.
YouTube is being slow with me right now. It's like I
Apparently, Spartan is looking into running Wretched Epoch.
yeah, that's kind of like the that's their kind of take on Elder Tor.
There's just one game I've always been wanting to run because I just thought the idea, like how it's ran, interesting, but I could never get the time to actually do it, and that's the Defiant game. I always thought the setting and the way it's played was interesting. But I can never get around the time to actually running it with people because it's an indie tabletop game, so it's going to involve like teaching people how to play the game first.
Well, one thing that I just thought of is something I was talking to Mark B about on the Red Room Discord was that in some space fantasy games or space science fiction games, you have the idea of, it's like, hey, this is a big galaxy. There's multiple planets to visit and do things on. And people and as Mark B pointed out, is people will invariably end up like, okay, we're on this planet. We're going to go adventuring on this planet now. And never leave.
Well, sci-fi, unless you're doing a thing that's going to involve a lot of traveling, you're inevitably going to be having to do like a very long-term campaign because it takes a lot to develop a singular planet. And so a lot of people, DMs and players want to explore what that planet has to offer before they go on to the next one. It's like a typical like RPG video game type mentality of, oh, I'm in this new area, I'm going to clear out all the explorables, all the collectibles, all the quests in this one area, and then move on to the next one.
Well, that's the other thing, though, is that as someone who has published over 100 videos examining the way Star Trek The Next Generation did episode plots and stuff like that, Star Trek The Next Generation would often be like, yes, we have finished our mission here, off to the next planet in episodes as part of the plot. It's just what occurred to me about this is that it's about giving players a reason to move to another area, because looking at it from a different perspective, it's the whole like, here's the starting village, here's the other village that's on the other side of the river, except that instead of those being villages, they're planets. I mean, it's the same logic. It's that in theory you can always just come back if you have a reason to come back.
I've done plenty of sci-fi games, and sure, some of them have been like a one planet or one space station type thing, but majority of them have been more like, oh, here's this world that's fully developed, and it's the hub world you all get your missions from, and y'all come back to here all the time, but y'all gonna have missions that will take y'all to elsewhere. Do your thing over there, and then come back.
Well, in Star Trek Adventures, you will do the whole like getting messages from Starfleet Command thing as a plot device, and you know that way you have what is nominally a hub world that exists that you don't actually physically go to because they just send you subspace messages instead of you physically going there to get new orders.
One of my favorite sci-fi games was also a bit like sci-fantasy because psionics in there works like Warhammer 40K, where you got the magic demon realm from where it comes from, and you use that to travel to places. It's entirely mission based. You don't level up by gaining experience. You level up by successfully completing a mission. If you don't complete the mission successfully, you just don't level up. And it's entirely mission based, and that's like a really good method to have your players zip to all sorts of locations because, well, if you only progress via completing missions, well, then you have to complete missions, and thus, depending on the DM on how they want to do their mission setup, you will be traveling to a bunch of places.
Well, there's also like the other thing is like how much of it is the GM telling the players what we're going to do today, and how much of it is the players deciding to hex crawl because they feel like hex crawling instead of doing a mission. Because like that's kind of what I popped into my head when you were talking about the whole like getting bogged down thing. It's like, why are you looking under random rocks?
Yeah.
I got some new books in. I got a Dragonbane from Free League. I got Savage World Adventures edition, and then I also got it's a game by Osprey called Tomorrow City. It's a diesel punk setting that works that the dice mechanics work very similar to like how Blades in the Dark works.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I'll be able to run both of those at one point, especially Savage Worlds, because everyone keeps telling me how great Savage Worlds is.
I've heard good things about Savage World.
Yeah, I own like one or two of the Palladium books, but I don't really own a whole lot of books in general.
The only book I own from Palladium, I got a Rift's Chaos Earth that I bought from them.
The thing is like one of the ones I have is literally just like one of the core books.
Say
what? Were you asking me a question? I spaced out.
No, he was just saying that he owns like one of the core books, but
yeah,
not many more.
Yeah, I wish he was already out because we're still waiting for him to come out to speak. It's already like almost 30 minutes past when he was supposed to start.
Anyway, well, we could go back to talking about Mark B's darker scenario. It's like, well, what his thing was that he was like asking people to give him ideas for was like the starting position is that they have this Morlock. And when I say Morlock, I mean like the guys from that Time Machine thing by H.G. Wells. Whereas I think the mutant whatever did retard people from the future. It's like a group of those invaded a planet or something and kidnapped the daughter of the person who is the governor of the planet. And he's like, okay, now fulfill in the rest of the scenario. But yeah, it's like one of the things that I was putting in with that was the idea that they're from a different planet. How they got to this planet, you don't know. And that is part of the reason why you, the players, are being sent there to investigate. It's like, how did these people get to this planet? And where exactly did they come from? Because like ultimately the idea that I postulated was basically kind of like the whole like goblin invasion thing you see in so many TTRPG modules is that here we have a peaceful village. Oh, and it got invaded by goblins. You have to go fight the goblins now. It's such a simple concept, but like rephrasing it and applying it to interstellar politics suddenly makes it seem like a different idea.
It's us humans are rather interesting because as much as we like to say we want and crave complexity, we are very easily pleased with simplicity.
Well, one thing I pointed out to some of my coworkers is that the easiest way to create complexity is to take a whole bunch of simple things and stack them on top of each other.
Hmm.
This is something that actually came up as a discussion of work things. It's just like, how do you end up in a situation where your daily schedule is incredibly complicated? It's simple. You take several simple schedules and mash them together. And it's just like, well, the same is true of politics in a fictional setting. Is that like, oh, you have the goblins and the elves who are at war with each other because goblins and elves are fighting over the same thing. Yawn, lame, boring. Okay, that's one faction and one faction. What do the humans think of all of this? And so on and so forth. And after you've added like the thoughts of like 5 different races to the whole dynamic, suddenly you have a rich, complicated tapestry to have as a backdrop to your combat in the game.
I mean, if we look at Star Wars, well, yes, technically it started with the original trilogy 3 through 6, but how the whole thing started with episodes 1 to 3, it literally just started with a trade dispute, and that quickly snowballed into a whole civil war into the formation of the Galactic Empire.
Well, see, one of the things that's interesting in Star Wars is that if you really pay attention, most of the complexity is superficial. It's like, what does Geonosis think about this?
Who cares?
Well, Geonosis is important, but their opinion is not.
Yeah.
Because like
Okay, so
they get paid.
hold on. Hang on. I'm looking at hold on, let me pause this really quick so I can read this off. Nicolas Maduro charges in the US. Count 1, narco terrorism conspiracy. Count 2, cocaine importation conspiracy. Count 3, possession of machine guns and destructive devices. And count 4, conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices. So this is what they are charging Nicolas Maduro from the former president of Venezuela with.
Those are some interesting charges.
I have to wonder how much difficulty they had capturing Maduro, because my understanding is that other than the people that Maduro was paying to be his bodyguards, let's just say that no one was going to do that for free.
Yeah, especially with the escalating hostilities with the U.S. have been going.
Yeah. Hold on. Oof. I was getting hot earlier. Now I'm freezing again. This is what I hate about being sick, is you keep going between hot and cold.
Also, I feel the need to point out that Venezuela used to literally be a banana republic.
Isn't that like the case with a lot of things in the Caribbean
Central
area?
America, maybe. I would say so.
Because doesn't Middle and Southern America have like lifelong presidencies? Once you get elected, you're in there for life, or until you get deposed.
Well, see, the reason that for the literal banana republic comment is that some of the places were in fact essentially taken over by companies that were there solely to grow bananas, so that they could export the bananas to the US and other countries. And that's what I was getting at, is that
their
countries where
bananas.
Their countries were politically completely taken over by these external forces, and whoever ends up in charge is put in power by the people that, have the money. And the locals don't have the money. And my understanding with Venezuela is that they never actually, got over that. It's always just been like, it's not necessarily external forces, but it's still like whoever's rich is basically telling the government what to do.
Yeah.
I had a thought and I lost it because there was some other stuff that happened. Did we talk about how I guess Claire Expedition 33 they lost an award because they had some AI elements in their video game apparently?
That's one of those things that's a level of witch hunt that I personally think is morally abhorrent.
I'm just
Because-
getting tired because the more
because-
the people try to hate on
What-
AI, the more I'm in support of it.
What AI use are they being accused of?
They had a few art assets that were AI generated, but they were generic slop that no one who was playing the game would even notice were AI generated. It was that unimportant. But and also, it's like no one would have noticed if not for the fact that the Expedition 33 people admitted to it. Honestly, I think whoever was asking them questions when they admitted to it was fishing for things to get mad about.
Fishing
That makes a
for
lot of sense.
controversy. Then recently a game company came out and said that they used AI to generate like conceptual art, and then when you find something like good enough, actual artists would try to like refine it and implement it. And
My
people were getting
understanding
angry about that.
is that is actually kind of sort of part of what Expedition 33 did, is that they would run ideas through an AI, the AI concepts, and then if it was something they liked, they would have like actual artists develop it. It's just that some of the AI concept art ended up getting used as placeholder art in the game and just like left there. Even though it's like something that's trivial and unimportant, people decided to witch hunt them over it.
Yeah, and then I guess Troll Lord Games is also being accused of using AI art now, which I'm not even sure if that's 100% accurate or not. I think it's just, again, just people kind of witch hunting.
I hadn't heard
I
that
think,
one.
I think
so
it was
didn't know.
Troll Art. I will always talk about that. Said that yeah, we use it to generate rough draft conceptual stuff, and then like we just have a team of artists actually make the thing if we like it.
As one person pointed out to me, is that a lot of these AI art uses are things that like, okay, I often do the whole thing as like it's a choice between no art and AI art. Well, some of them are actually like a bit of a different angle where it's a matter of having, like multiple variations of something that you wouldn't otherwise bother with having variations on. Because
It
like
would have taken many man hours to just even come up with, anyways.
I am a person who has been a part of the Diablo 2 and Space Empires 5 modding communities for over a
Mhm.
decade. Granted, I've kind of retired from Diablo 2 modding and I haven't actually done anything active in Space Empires 5 in years. But anyways, both of those games had extremely detailed randomization as a core aspect of the game
Mhm.
design, because like in Diablo 2 it had this thing. It's like it would randomize the map so that you had to like, okay, where is this thing? You don't know because the map is randomized.
Yeah, the map will
Here's
change
the
every
thing.
time you go back into the game.
Here's the thing, though, is that they had a very, very complicated system for doing that because, one, they wanted it to feel like a coherent map. They didn't random garbage. So they had to come up with a way of making it so that the randomization ended up being something that wasn't garbage. The methodology of that is not what they would call in modern times AI. But here's the thing: AI in modern times would be getting used as a replacement for having like multi-level stacked tables of things, because like the AI assistant thing actually has the ability to, well, for example, in the first area you go to in Diablo 2, there were several variations of peasant farmhouses.
Yeah.
It's just has it is in there. Thing is, the game didn't actually have the ability to randomize those. They're full of randomization. But the reality is that the fact that there was multiple farmhouse layouts was down to the fact that the developers manually designed multiple farmhouses and then put those in, and then the game would just randomly choose which farmhouse to generate out of the list that the game developers had manually created.
Yeah, they start to create everything and then plug them into the map generating algorithm.
Yeah.
So hold on. I want to ask Johnny Peters, what do you mean by planned garbage? What are you referring to when you say that? Are you talking about what Marhawk is talking about, or are you referring to something else?
Now I feel like I need to read your Rumble chat.
Well, yeah, I got Michael also said good morning. It's good to see you, Michael. We need to have you guest on here sometime, Michael. I think that would be fun just to get you on here if you want to talk tabletop, and you don't have to talk about the new stuff if you want. You're free to bounce if you don't want to talk about new stuff, but that's what we do. We're still waiting to see. Trump is still late, trying to start his news press conference about the Venezuela capture. So we're still waiting on that.
Please, Johnny, don't be too unreasonable about your playing garbage comment. You're repping Matt Smith, Doctor Who here. Come on, that's my favorite Doctor.
Oh, just a riff on random garbage. I just still don't know what he's talking about. That's my problem.
Oh,
it's probably about the AI stuff.
Which platform are you looking at?
It shows me both YouTube and if you go to the chat section, it shows you the comments from that you get in from both Rumble and YouTube.
Yeah, it's at the bottom right of the restream.
Oh, there I see it now. It was on YouTube. Okay. Just a riff on random garbage. Yeah, I don't know anything either. No real context. Oh well. Anyway.
I mean, when it comes to like anything being randomly generated or have an algorithm, it'll be the off chance of getting garbage if the devs don't put in parameters to try and mitigate it. But it's always going to be like a risk of the thing just a thing that's present.
One of the most interesting things I've ever seen someone do with modding was having Minecraft when it's a true chaos mode.
Oh, I think you were just talking about with you when you were talking about how AI assistants or just assistant tools with map generation. You're talking about how devs had to go about just making sure the algorithm didn't completely make a garbage map layout.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that I learned as a Diablo 2 modder, because I actually went to the time and effort of learning how the Diablo 2 map generation stuff worked as part of learning how to do modding in Diablo 2.
Mm-hmm. What mods did you make for Diablo 2?
I didn't actually publish much. I mostly just like spent time learning stuff.
Would you say it was difficult to mod it?
Diablo 2 is a game from the old days when the developers weren't planning to have people mod their game, but they knew people were going to do it anyways, and they didn't really make a huge amount of effort to try to prevent it, even if it technically wasn't something they were encouraging. As
much as I despise Bethesda, I'll at least give them props as early back as Morrowind. I don't know if they did it before then, but every time they sold a game, they always gave like the creation lab for the game so people could have an easier time modding their games.
Well, one of the funny things with the resurrected version of Diablo 2 was that Blizzard actually made the people who are working for Blizzard to make it actually made it such a faithful recreation of the original Diablo 2 that some of the mods for the original Diablo 2 worked in it.
That's actually kind of amazing.
It's because of the fact that they weren't actually rebuilding the core game engine. So the fact that they're not rebuilding the core game engine and they're just like,
Yeah, they were just giving visual updates, right?
well, they were redoing the entirety of how it handles graphics
Mhm.
because of the fact that the original Diablo 2 was coded in the 90s.
Yeah.
Making it work on a 2000s computer requires ridiculous layers of emulation. And also, it's like default screen resolutions are just that different nowadays.
Hmm.
So, stuff like that. But because they're not changing the core game engine, the way that the core game engine handles art assets is still the same. And the way that the game handles the concept of items is still the same. So, that stuff is not changed. One of the most significant changes they did was handling the way mercenaries are done, so that mercenaries, you can actually equip them with gear now, which you couldn't do in the previous one. Because in the original release of Diablo 2, mercenaries were apparently designed to be expendable peons and not really like a secondary character.
Yeah, like a whole actual party member.
Yeah, they weren't really designed to be party members. In the original one, if one died, you couldn't resurrect it. You would just hire a new one.
Which really sucked because even the mercenaries were kind of like random a little bit, not too much, but still enough. And it was really sucked if like a really good gen.
Well, they didn't have randomized stats, not to a significant degree anyway. Maybe like this one's like 1 point better or 2 points better, but not much.
Hang on.
Hmm.
Hold on. President Trump's on now. I had to refresh my
finally.
screen, see if I can. This freaking my internet is just, I don't know what's going on with it today.
So,
It's
also,
driving me
Mike, it really was. I still got like the whole Morrowind chest. So I got like the game, the 2 expansions, and the construction set CDs for it.
You're thinking of Elder Scrolls, not Diablo. Oh well.
The comment was that I still gave props to Bethesda for doing the construction sets and creation lab, so that way people can have an easier time modding. Because I think that personally kind of like really put modding into the mainstream because they're the ones that made it easier to mod their games, and then people start copying that.
Yeah, that's a serious thing because like Diablo 2 was the last game in the Diablo series that Bethesda was even semi cool with people modding. Like Diablo 3, Diablo 4, Diablo Immortal. Nope, mods are banned.
Yeah, that's when Blizzard started really going into the online stuff and didn't want to
Yeah,
quote-unquote ruin the online experience.
Diablo 4 is a World of Warcraft style MMO in that, you have levels, enemies have levels, all of the things that you want to do in the world have levels, etc., etc., etc.
Ugh.
Sorry, I'm back. My dad dropped off my stuff for me that I asked him to get. Oh. Okay. Trump's talking now, and of course it's freaking being slow on me. Of course. Jeez, I need to figure out a way to get internet in my place. Like actual internet.
Try getting Spectrum.
Nope, not familiar with that one.
I'm not sure which.
Spectrum while I was in the army to get my barracks better Wi-Fi. I guess I was just tired of using military Wi-Fi. It worked pretty well for me.
It depends on your region whether that's available, because my region doesn't have Spectrum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's talking about protecting the people of Venezuela, making sure that the country is safe enough for the people that from Venezuela that came here to go back. When he's like, we had decades of this stuff going on with them, we're not going to let that happen. We're there now. What people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, I'm reading it. We are there now, but sorry, I'm reading it as it's coming up. We're going to stay until such a time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time. Okay, so yeah, it looks like they're wanting to maintain a military presence in Venezuela until they get someone in the right seat of power. I guess is what it
So
sounds
we're
like.
currently occupying Venezuela.
I
Yeah.
don't know about currently, but I wouldn't be surprised. Talking about oil, of course, which I guess I
Yeah.
didn't know the Venezuelan oil thing was such a big deal.
They have what's called tar sand, if I remember correctly. Um, however, unlike Canada, where the Athabasca tar sands are nearly surface level, where you just have to dig down a few feet, in Venezuela they have to drill down underneath a layer of rock that's relatively deep to get to it, but is a viable source of petroleum.
Huh. Go figure.
The funny thing is that the U.S. still has the what's probably the world's largest petroleum reservoirs that haven't been used yet.
Yeah, but we keep every time we harvest anything, we use that for sales overseas.
Well, okay. See, the issue the U.S. has with petroleum production is that the EPA exists as one of its primary mandates is to antagonize the petroleum industry.
Sounds about right.
No, I'm talking to the guy about that's running the Star Wars 5e game that I'm part of, and I guess the Chiss race, which are the blue skinned people with the red eyes and the black hair,
Yeah.
only the female. Which again, I just like Star Wars because it's nice, colorful lightsabers and Jedi fights. That's all I like about it. I don't. I'm not that. I'm not an expert on lore or anything, but I guess that when it comes to the Chiss race, they're only it's very rare for any of them to be force sensitive, and it's usually adolescent females that are force sensitive for the Chiss race. So, and then
Yeah, they're like in the unexplored region, so just a lot of unexplainable eldritch shit goes on over there.
and so I want to still keep my concept because my idea is because the character that I'm working on is he was basically the son of he's like the son of politicians. So he was basically showed like the ropes and how sausage gets made, and then there was an uprising that resulted in the death of his political parents, and he escaped the people that were like hunting him down, and then he crash lands on Korriban, and the guy
Oh,
says,
well,
"What?
you're making this character as a Sith, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's going to be
Yeah,
Sith."
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I guess the Chiss and
So,
the Sith have a very close relationship.
and he's telling me he highly it's like I want to keep the concept, but can I just change the race? And he's like, absolutely. And he recommends human because, in his words, the Sith Empire is xenophobic enough to make the SS blush.
That's actually a funny thing is that the Sith Empire was one of the weirdest retcons they ever did because prior to that the concept of Sith, it wasn't even clear whether or not Palpatine was human in the original appearance. Because the way Star Wars aliens work is that you have people look like, then you have people with weird rubber masks, and Palpatine was kind of sort of human shaped, but he didn't really have a human skin texture, if you know what I mean. And he actually looks less human than a Chiss, so
I mean, he's from Naboo, and most natural-born Naboo citizens, if they're not Gungans, are human.
Yeah.
that was a retcon that came
Yeah.
in later.
True.
Actually, I was using Gemini last night to create the AI image for my character because Grok now limits how often you can do prompts now. And Gemini, Gemini does not do too bad of a job. It gave me a really good AI art of a Chiss character.
And if I remember correctly, I used to be really deep into Star Wars lore when that was still a thing.
The problem with Star Wars lore to me is that pre-Disney, Star Wars lore, while there were several things such as the Timothy Zahn books that were in fact very well written and internally logical and so on and so forth, trying to combine things from multiple writers would it would drive you to insanity because of the fact that the different writers would possibly sort of treat things as canon that weren't, even known outside their own book.
I mean,
And
like back then, it was still not really known what exactly the Clone Wars even was.
Yeah, the very first time I ever watched Star Wars, it's funny because this was such a good memory I had with my dad. Was we saw the first Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire, was the theaters, and then we turned around, and my introduction to Star Wars was Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
I mean, that was a Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I have no issue with the prequels, for the most part.
Well, I've never had any problems with the prequels.
I remember, since we're talking about booked, one series that both me and my sisters actually read when we were younger. Was the Star Wars Young Jedi Knights series, where it was the kids of Luke, of not Luke and Leia, it's a Han and Leia.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of weird if Luke and Leia actually became like a whole thing.
The book series that Disney totally did not steal to make the sequel trilogy.
To be honest, that's a form follows function thing, and as someone once pointed out to me, it's like there's only a handful of ways you can have, like main characters have children and then move forward using the children of the main characters.
There was also a comic book series for a while that I remember. It was one comic that I remember reading from that series, but it had Emperor Palpatine, a clone of his, come to life. It talked about Leia learning the ways of the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was the birth of, I can't remember if it was their first kid or like the final kid. I don't remember. It was a comic book series. Like I wish I could remember what it was called.
That's actually something that Yoda does an allusion to in one of the movies. Is just like, oh no, Luke is the last hope, and Yoda's like, nah, there is actually another one, but Luke is the best hope. It doesn't get explained in the movie what Yoda means when he says there is another, but
like
it actually does make sense when you consider that Leia is Luke's sister. That he's talking about Leia.
Yeah, I don't know if I love or hate Disney for not introducing Mara Jade. Hate because no Mara Jade movies, but also love because Disney's not ruining Mara Jade.
All right, I need to change this guy's. I need to change my character. I'm sorry, I'm like working on my character concept for my Star Wars game at the same time I'm listening to y'all talk. Because again, guys, I am not feeling well, so I'm just kind of letting the two talkative guys of the show just kind of go away with it. So usually I try to rein them in, but it's only the three of us today. So
yeah.
See, I felt like that Star Wars guy. And one of the things I find interesting about the difference in the way that canon is handled in Star Wars is that George Lucas was a very loose rein on canon, and thus he didn't really care if things didn't properly fit together, because that's not my problem. That was basically his take on it.
Honestly, that was the better time of Star Wars.
But you also ended up with things like the Vader's glove story, where this guy comes up with a way of using cybernetics.
I remember that. I actually remember reading that story about Vader's glove.
It's like it became infamous because of the fact that it just feels wrong in comparison to the rest of the setting.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you have this guy who becomes obsessed with Darth Vader and wants to become like Lord Vader, except that he has no idea how the Force works. He just knows that Vader has certain abilities, and he does anything and everything he can think of to give himself those abilities, which ended up being cybernetics.
Well, I mean, we got like gravitational technology, so theoretically you could make a glove that will allow you to push, pull, or crush things technically.
Yeah, that was the basic gist of it, is that, it's like he somehow ended up with the glove part of Vader's armor, which how exactly that happened, I don't know, but he did. Also, is that in the sequel trilogy, we find out that Kylo Ren actually has the mask from Vader's costume that he keeps as like a personal relic or something.
Everything about the sequel trilogy is just such a missed opportunity.
one of the things that I noticed about it when I carefully studying the pre-release information for episode 8 and comparing it to what we saw in the televised version of episode 7 is that um I think Disney did a complete rebuild at some point during development of episode 8, where like one of the long-standing theories is that okay, we do kind of sort of have evidence of this, but we don't know what the specifics
Mhm.
are. What the gist of it was is that people have reason to believe that the guy who wrote episode 7 did in fact have a planned continuation for an episode 8 and 9 because Disney, hired him because they were planning on making a sequel trilogy and they had started out with that plan. So the guy who wrote episode 7 had an idea for 8 and 9. It's just that Disney, for some reason I don't understand, decided to change writers and have a different person write episode 8.
Different writer, different director.
Yeah, and so like it's like completely veering off into a different direction that makes no sense whatsoever because the person who was setting up the plot hooks for episode 7, well, the person who's writing episode 8 is just ignoring those and doing whatever he feels like. So it's like I think the whole like Ray Palpatine thing was in fact actually the original plan.
I mean, I could see that. And I could see that definitely working. It's just the execution, like everything else in the sequel trilogy, is just absolutely atrocious.
Well, that's what I was saying about the whole like episode 8 change is that if they'd actually had that guy right or do the production work for episode 8 and use the original planned story for episode 8, it would probably have been a lot more logical
More
and
cohesive.
less ridiculous. Yeah.
Because like a lot of my problems that does come with the sequel trilogy is from the fact that they had different teams essentially working in all 3 movies. I think the only thing that really stayed the same was episode 7, episode 9 having the same director. Because I remember like J.J. Abrams came back for 9, right?
Yeah. It's
He was like outside of the actors, I think he was the only most consistent team member.
yeah, because it's like him his not being in there for 8 was part of the reason why 8 was so off compared to the 7. It's just like it's like that was when the sequel trilogy really jumped the start. It's like episode 7, okay, it has rough parts. It has new characters that they're a little, off, but they're not horribly bad. Then you have 8 and it's just like what the are you doing?
I would say the worst decision they ever made was never having the new trio really share any screen time together.
Mm.
Like you had Poe and Finn for like the first like for 10 minutes, then they never meet up again. Then you had Poe and Ray for like 20 minutes or like half an hour, and then they're always separate again. And then they never really get back together for a long enough period of time at any point throughout the trilogy.
Yeah, that's another thing about it to me is just that like it's like they want to have marketable new characters, but the marketable new characters are different characters existing simultaneously and separately in the same universe, and they're trying to write the story so that the multiple new characters are separate from each other. Why?
Especially considering that, at least in my opinion, for the initial time we had them, Poe and Finn, they had great character dynamics, they had great chemistry. Poe and Ray, they had great chemistry together. That like when we were first introduced to Ray was literally her best shining moment where we're seeing how she survives on the planet, and then the initial Ray and Finn were learning together, like, oh, we're in freaking danger. We have to work together to escape the First Order, and then get into the Millennium Falcon. And then after that, everything just went downhill with character-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
then they just never get back together. We never get like any of those good character chemistry moments ever again. Everything is kind of like implied for the audience to fill in the blanks themselves of how the characters are, and the characters themselves have to state their relationship. Like, I don't know why, but for whatever reason,
as
Han and Rey really like each other. We never really see that develop. It just gets stated that they like each other enough that Han even wants to like take her on as an apprentice and give her the ship. We never see why that happened or how the guys really get along to make that warranted, but it's a thing.
Well, part of that was seemingly implied to be the fact that Ray was able to understand the technology in the Millennium Falcon
For some
better
reason.
than like anyone else he'd ever seen before, other than the people he stole it from. But that doesn't really go a whole lot in terms of character development. That's just kind of sort of one story beat. And one of the things that was one of my big gripes with the episode 7 was that they're spending so much time establishing new characters that they forget which of them are actually important characters. Because like Poe was actually supposed to be a minor one-off character that you see for 5 minutes and then he gets killed, but people actually liked him.
Yeah, Poe was
And
great. He was like one of the best characters in the whole series. He just kept getting dicked down on.
well, that was the thing is that like their original plan for Poe was that he would just be like a one-off, but then when they were developing the story, they just kind of needed that role to be used more than once, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's a recurring
I'll actually
character
say
now.
that of all the characters, Poe is actually the closest we have to an Anakin and Luke analog.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the new sequel movies, and I refuse to watch them.
You're not really missing much.
Well-
I also have a lot of headache and stress.
Well, one of the things that's interesting is the insinuation in some of the stuff that they were actually originally reveal that Finn, the reason he was able to break free from whatever conditioning that he was put through to make him into a stormtrooper that's not a clone trooper. Apparently the idea that was being gone with for that was actually that he was force sensitive, and that was the reason that he was able to do what he was doing. But they kind of dropped that.
The idea of Finn being a reformed stormtrooper was just a plot point they never truly actually explored, and that's one of the many missed opportunities.
But like one of the things that people used as a reason why they personally thought this was that there's a scene in one of the movies, I think it was 7, where you have one of the like anti-Jedi troopers squaring off with Finn, while Finn is armed with nothing other than Anakin's lightsaber.
Wait, he used Anakin's lightsaber probably even more than Rey did.
Yeah, I know. That was one of the things where people are like, why is he using a lightsaber if he's not a... Wait, is he going to be a Jedi?
I mean, truth be told, like Han has used Luke's lightsaber a couple of times. Like, you don't need to be force sensitive to use the lightsaber. It's just better if you were, because with how lightsabers are constructed, it's just much easier for a Jedi or Sith to use them because of the Force. The only way you could be a trained lightsaber guy is if you had the Force.
Apparently, in the old days, before the Empire and all that stuff, lightsabers were just like a really, really expensive weapon that some people would have, even if they didn't need to. It's just that the reason why they were so rare is that they were incredibly expensive. That's actually something that comes up in the that when it comes time for Luke to create his own lightsaber. He's like, oh, right, making a new lightsaber using the technology available to me. Oh, ooh. But then he finds out that, you know, the one guy who had been helping him learn how to use the Force had actually secretly somehow acquired all of the parts for him, or at least all of the critical components, so that he wouldn't have to time and effort of finding that are, you know,
Compatible.
vampire.
Oh yeah.
Because like they have like that central control crystal was like the actual like key ingredient. It's like the two main ingredients were the power supply and the control crystal, and it was the control crystal that was like truly the thing you couldn't make it work without.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when they came up with like the Kyber crystals, and that's when it became more of a Jedi exclusive item.
Well, some of the like after stuff was ridiculous, because like the idea that kyber crystals needed to be attuned with the Force in order to make them work properly. No idea went. This is what I was saying earlier about how some of the stuff in the expanded universe was just dumb and didn't fit with the other stuff in the universe properly, because like the idea that kyber crystals could be attuned with the Force, yes, okay, fine. Having them need to be attuned to the Force in order to make them work, no. Well,
Try to make my dog come over to give her some attention, but she's like, no.
he's like, no, I'm fine. I'm gonna take a nap now.
Oh yeah, I probably feel like I could pass out any minute now again. My it's just
Do
killing me.
you think we need to cut the podcast early this go round?
It's like, yeah, because I could not keep up with following the captions on the Venezuela press conference, so that may be
Do
something.
you feel like a rough idea what's happening, or did you like already explain, or is the bit you said before with quoting Trump pretty much the summation of the whole thing?
That's kind of the I kind of stopped watching it after a little bit. So to be perfectly honest, I've just been working on some stuff while I was letting you two talk about Star Wars and stuff, and I know I had something else I wanted to talk about, but I just can't remember what it was top of my head right now.
Well, one thing that I came up for this week in the TTRPG scene is that we do now have evidence that Wizards of the Coast is in fact actually planning to make a 6th edition, even though they have publicly stated otherwise.
I mean, they might as well just call 2024 6th edition.
Well, I mean, like people have been speculating that they were going to make a 6th edition just because 5th edition was getting old, but also it's like they've started to kind of like ramping down work on 5th edition too. And I don't remember what the exact source said about why they think that we actually have proper evidence now.
Yay, D&D 6th edition with even less lore, less mechanics, and more AI art. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like WotC is like they used to be like the gold standard for, you know, supporting real artists, and then they decided they didn't care about that anymore.
I still don't really like a lot of the art for 5th edition.
It's all colorful and crap. Yeah,
that Dwarf Forge one still gives me an aneurysm every time I look at it. My eyes start twitching.
Well, like that's one of the things that people had as a commentary on it is that it seems as though their concept of what they want art to be has changed, and not in a good way.
I just saw something. What was it? Crap, I hadn't. I lost it.
Because like even on the Magic the Gathering cards, so some of the Magic the Gathering cards that they've been printing recently is just gross level art, and it's just like, why? It doesn't really make sense for.
Didn't it make Aragorn? Was it Aragorn that he turned black?
They made him black. Yep.
Yeah.
No. I'm not talking about that. That is so something where you look at that and it's like, oh, I know exactly what they're going with here, and I don't like it. I'm talking about the stuff where it's just like doesn't really make any sense at all. Like the fact that some of their art basically looks like you gave a child water paint and told the child to paint something. And they printed that on actual cards. So it's like, okay, there have been times in the past where they used things that were obviously done with watercolors and but they were done by someone who was an actual competent artist, not someone who looked like
First
they
day
got
on the
paid
job type of deal.
$5. It's just kind of strange. It's like well, one of the TCGs that I own a considerable amount of, and one of the few TCGs I actually, value in terms of like actually wanting to play it with people, is Galactic Empires. Galactic Empires is a TCG that died something like 20 years ago, and that I didn't get into it until several years after it was already dead.
Mhm.
However, one of the things with Galactic Empires is that the first sets of Galactic Empires, they really didn't have much of a budget for art because of the fact that they're a startup. They don't, have backing of an organization like WotC, so they don't have the millions of dollars to spend on art for the next expansion.
Mhm.
After they got sales for the first two expansion sets, then they had more budget to pay artists to do stuff. But one of the things that was interesting, and it's something that kind of became a meme, was how they would pay an artist to draw a space scene. The artist gets paid for the piece of artwork that they did. Well, the uncut piece of artwork gets published as like a poster that's like a special thing that they do for like special events as a promotional item for the game. Well, the actual art though gets chopped up into pieces so that they can take that one like poster sized piece of art and make like 12 cards out of it.
Ugh.
Why? Because that was what was in their budget. Thing is, they actually ended up with good art that way and actually paid actual artists to do the good art. Whereas the first set, some of them literally looked like they were drawn with crayons because from what I heard, they actually were.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine WotC trying to like do a new version of Spelljammer in this day and age?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, you remember that Atozi thing where it's like they have like not Atozi, Hadozi. Sorry, said that wrong.
Yeah.
The Hadozi thing. What were Hadozi in their original incarnation?
Mm.
They didn't have the whole slave shtick in their original incarnation. WotC added that for the recent revamped version of them so that they could play up the whole like slave analogy thing for reasons that make sense to no one because of the fact that it didn't make any sense from an in-universe perspective.
Mm.
And it's like they're trying to score brownie points for being progressive, and then oh wait, no, we're being the wrong kind of progressive, so we have to throw ourselves under the bus now and beg the public to forgive us for being progressive when we were being the bad kind of progressive. It's like, what on earth doing? Ugh.
Yeah, but I think it's like Death Angel. I know you just joined, and I apologize.
And Paracorn, Death Angel show, Shadow, and then they make them look like monkey minstrels.
Well, that's the other thing is that the Hadozi were Monkey Man in the original one. It's just that they didn't have that aesthetic. They changed them to look like that. It's just why?
What?
Yeah.
What did you mean by this, Wizard?
Yeah, it's like that. It's like them saying that all orcs look like black people, which is honestly more racist than anything else they probably can do.
And then the combat that they made them Mexican.
Oh yeah, that,
Yeah.
that I was about to mention that when it said they had an artist draw them for one of their supplemental books and make all of them look like not real world Mexicans, but like the fictional fantasy version of Mexicans. That's what like Mexicans would have looked like back in like the 1900s.
The race of creatures that are usually depicted as evil, vile, and destructive by all means, because that's what they were created to be, wind up becoming Mexican. What do you mean by this, wizards?
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I think we're gonna call it here today, just because, again, just not feeling well, and I can't even remember half the topics I want to talk about right now. So,
Can't
uh,
even get the Venezuela thing to really work properly.
yeah, my computer's being shit. So, that's cool. Where can everyone find you at?
Well, going right into this. You can find me on X at Desco_team. And you can also find me talking sometimes with the Mythoverse Indie Comic Book Shared Universe Project. You can find them at Mythoverse on X as well as on YouTube. I was gone for a few weeks as I just got out the army and been unable to have access to most tech, so I've been very inactive. But come Monday, I should have my computer back, and I'm hoping to become more active at that point.
All right, Mark Hawkman, where can everyone find you at?
Well, let's see here. I sometimes stream on Kick and Twitch, but mostly you can find me on YouTube, where I have been posting videos about various TTRPG related things and sometimes video game related things.
All right, and as always, you can find me on X, YouTube, and Rumble under the Ultra American TTRPGer at Ultra TTRPGER. Hope everyone is having a good year so far. It'll be interesting to see what is going to happen, because Lord knows this year's probably going to go by fast too, just as fast as last year went.
Oh yeah.
So far, 2026 has been shaping out to be a rather interesting year from get-go.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be streaming on YouTube at 1 p.m. Of the next session of that game.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's the dang it, I forgot the name of the RPG. It's not Gamma World. It's like a modern OSR take of Gamma World. Future something. Oh, Mutant Future. Yeah, Mutant Future. That's the one we're going to be doing at 1 p.m. Eastern time. No.
And hopefully next week.
No, sorry. It's 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central.
And hopefully next week we'll finally get to start our Out of the Black Hack campaign Flushed Out, where you all are basically trying to survive in space. So hopefully we'll be able to get to do that next week. That's what I'm praying for. So.
Said hilarity ensues.
Yep. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Roll some dice, eat some food, and take care of yourself.
Remember to stay hydrated, and the most important rule: have fun.
Goodbye, everybody.
You there.